4 scenes in the cortex, each one longer than the last. Played by 7 happy campers, all of them having a blast. It's a blast, it's a blast, it's a blast.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Oh my god, what's happening? There's so much Flash news. Musical episode, they announced the Black Flash is Savitar on the Flash Season 3, so this is going to be a breakdown of all that stuff. There's so much stuff to talk about, so let's just start with Black Flash Savitar. They confirmed that it's Savitar. Most of you remember him from the Wally West run. He appeared during Jeff Johns' Flash Rebirth, the original Flash Rebirth. I know there's a Flash Rebirth that's happening right now that's totally different. I'll talk about that too later in this video, but if you have no idea who Savitar is, he's actually a pretty big character. It's just that he was really big during Mark Waid's Flash run, so that was a long time ago. So you can see, in keeping with tradition on the TV show, they've taken a big character from the comics like a name, changed his costume, and they'll probably change his backstory a little bit just because this TV show version looks more contemporary. And just to explain Savitar's backstory from the comics a little bit, he actually started out as more of a Max Mercury, Johnny Quick villain that got stuck in the Speed Force, way back in the past, and then brought into present day. So, eventually he becomes a big Wally West villain, but he originally starts out as the villain of some of the older versions of the Flash. So I always love it when the TV show does deep cuts from the comics, meaning, because Max Mercury and Johnny Quick are so big to Savitar's story in the comics, we might see them pop up during Season 3, but for the most part, he's a Wally West villain, so it makes sense that they're doing Kid Flash Wally West on the TV show. They would also do a Wally West villain from the comics. But the big difference in Savitar, like in his grand plan, the evil things that he's trying to do, is that his connection to the Speed Force is a little bit different. He wants to steal it for himself, but when he tries to steal Wally's speed, he finds that he can't because Wally is bonded to the Speed Force in such a fundamental way, like Barry Allen's bonded to the Speed Force. So that gets a little complicated. I'm expecting the TV show to change, some of that nonsense and make it a little bit simpler. But effectively, Savitar's big plan is just to steal all of the speed, which they kind of did last season with Zoom. So if there's going to be anything that they do that's totally original to the show that has no basis in what they did in the comics, it's probably going to be what Savitar's grand plan is. Because what happens in the comics is that after he comes up short against Wally West, he gets so pissed that he's like, fine, if I can't have your speed, I'm just going to destroy the world, which is like the most overdone villain plot. I'm going to blow up the world like they just did that last season with Zoom. Zoom tried to blow up the multiverse, so I don't think they're going to do the same thing 2 seasons in a row. But you can see that Savitar's costume on the TV show just looks a little bit like his comic book costume with the earpieces flaring out from his sides, but the comic book version of the costume is so ridiculous looking that of course there's no way they're going to do it on the TV show. But I did wonder when we first saw this costume, it looked very Mark Waid, Wally West era Flash, just like the way they did the artwork on those Flashes. So I did wonder if it was something from that time period. So now it's confirmed. Savitar, deep cut from the comics. The other big news is that Dr. Alchemy will be one of the big bads of the season. And of course, I think that Tom Felton is playing the second version of Dr. Alchemy. He's like the younger version that worked with Barry at the crime lab in the comics. But the really interesting thing is that IMDb lists Tobin Bell from the Saw series, with this really scary voice, as playing Dr. Alchemy. So they might be doing the Zoom thing where Dr. Alchemy wears a mask and his voice sounds really scary, but when he takes the mask off, it's Tom Felton. Or they might do Legacy of Evil type thing where it's like his father, like they do it with the Weather Wizard, where like a version of Weather Wizard comes on, but he has a brother who later picks up the mantle. So just remains to be seen how Dr. Alchemy appears and whether his character changes, or if Tom Felton's character picks up the mantle from his father, or if he's going to be the character the entire time. But if you don't know who Dr. Alchemy is from the comics, he's someone who doesn't start out evil, but he's someone who butts heads with Barry at the crime lab and then later becomes one of the Flash rogues. But his powers are like a combination of magic and science, so they were teasing that there would be plenty of Harry Potter references and Easter eggs. They're gonna have a lot of fun with it. But oh my gosh, there's so much other stuff that's happening. I'm gonna need to do like 10 videos to explain all this stuff. But they're bringing on Killer Frost's mother, like Caitlin Snow's mother is coming on the show. She's supposed to be this super bitch. Even Killer Frost from Earth 2, the evil version of Caitlin, said that her mother on Earth 2 was also a bitch. Like they had that in common. Like Caitlin's very sweet, Killer Frost is like the evil version of her. Both of their mothers, super bitches, so it's going to be a lot of fun to meet her mother on the TV show, but no idea how many episodes she's going to be in. They talked more about the 4-night crossover. So what's going to happen is that it will touch on Supergirl, but the thing that really sets it off will start on the Flash. So my guess is that Supergirl is going to stay on a different Earth. They're going to do something on the Flash that will bring her to Earth 1 for the rest of the crossover. So once she gets onto the Flash, then the story will cross over to Arrow the next night, then Legends of Tomorrow the last night. But they did confirm that that's going to be episode 8 of all those shows, so that'll drop sometime in November, around the same time that it dropped last year. But there's another big crossover they announced. They're actually doing a musical episode, Supergirl Flash crossover, that will probably feature characters from Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow, but it'll really just be Flash and Supergirl. So that is going to happen episode 13, which will be in the back half of the season. But that'll be like a smaller thing, but it'll still be like a big event, but it just won't be quite as big as the 4-night crossover. So I almost forgot. Next big thing, there's only going to be 22 episodes of all the shows this season instead of 23, which isn't that big a deal. Like, it's not something that you should freak out about. And there's only 13 episodes of Legends of Tomorrow instead of 16 episodes. But as expected, Flashpoint is only going to last for a couple episodes. Then it'll go back to normal with a lot of the changes sticking. Like, Wally West will still be Kid Flash even after they fix Flashpoint, stuff like that. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on with Supergirl Season 2, like they confirm Miss Martian, they confirm Mon-El Superboy. Like, I'll do a separate video for Supergirl Season 2 and a separate video for Legends of Tomorrow Justice Society stuff tomorrow. So be sure to subscribe to get all that stuff. There's a new round of the DC giveaway going on right now. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. The really big thing tonight is that the Star Wars Rogue One Darth Vader trailer, like the big trailer, is dropping. It's supposed to be a different version of the Celebration trailer, like different footage. So that'll be the next video that I post tonight. So get hyped. It's going to be awesome. There's so much awesome stuff that happened today. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for my Flash Season 3 trailer video, and you can click here to learn all about Superman, Supergirl Season 2 stuff. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.